Mlibwanji. Welcome back to the BeOfficial podcast. I'm your host, your guy, Pope837, and I brought my co-host, Director D, is in the house. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us on another wonderful episode of Emotions versus Values. So we just want to say thank you so much for showing us the overwhelming support and love over the past episodes. So please don't forget to like, share, comment, and make sure you spread the word. And we're calling this segment Uncut Conversations. So without further ado, let's roll into the intro. Director D.
Yeah.
How can relying on values rather than emotions improve decision making?
It's a great question. I think I'll go with one of my favorite quotes pertaining to values, and it reads, "Values reflect what is important to the way you live and work." And what you come to understand is relying on values rather than emotions really do make the decision-making process easier. And you get to find that emotions are fleeting. They change, moment to moment. But when your values are clear, your decision-making process tends to be easier and clearer. So why you can't rely on your emotions when it pertains to decision making, because many of the times that you find our emotions are mostly influenced by external factors, that of which can be either fatigue, it can be stress, it can be anxiety, it can be anger, So all of these external factors contribute to an emotional state of being. And when you are in that emotional state of being, you're prone to make decisions that are haste, and that of which, when you do that, and then in the long run, you might not be happy with the decisions that you've made. So understanding the importance of your values, now they're the things that give you a core foundation of who you are as a person. So firstly, you need to understand what your values are, what your principles are, because at the core of that, that's where your decision making relies on the most. Because even in the moments where emotions take control over you, you do not run to make a rampant decision that you might regret later, because the values and your principles hold you accountable to that. So why I would say relying on values is important is because they represent what you believe in at your core. And I think some of my values and principles, I think for me it would be honesty, kindness, gentleness, and all around, fairness. I think these are some of the important values to me that always keep me in check and remind me of who I am. That even in the midst of whatever might be crazy or whatever might be going on, I'm always reminded to go back to that. That even when I'm caught up between an emotional decision, I'm prone to take some time, because often at the times most of us do not take the time or do not take the minute that you need to make sure that you question the decision you're making. Because once you're caught up in your emotions, we tend to make, quick decisions, that of which later in the long run, when you think about all of that, then you realize the decision that you made then does not align with your core values as a person. So always remember to question your values when you're caught up in your emotions, to say, do they represent what I believe in, or does this decision that I'm about to make reflect who I am as a person? Because at my core, my values remind me of that. And I think lastly, I would say, while emotions can cloud our judgment or push us towards quick fixes, values help us stay true to ourselves, leading to decisions we can stand by and feel good about in the long run. I think this basically highlights that every human being should have values and principles that they do stand by. Yeah. Mr. 837.
Yes, sir.
What are some practical steps to identify and align with your core values in daily decision making?
All right. Values versus emotions. A very, very, very cardinal topic that we're talking about, And I just love how each and every episode has been just narrowing it down until we are finally here where we are now talking about values, And it's very important. So some steps that you can take are, number one, self-reflection. I believe it's very important to be in a space where you're spending more time with yourself and you get to understand and know yourself better. Like people are afraid of spending time with themselves. I think that's one thing I've come to learn and understand. I think I struggled with that for a while and a long time because, every time when you sit alone, I feel like there's a lot that comes, like you start thinking about so much and it makes you feel uncomfortable, but that's how it should be. It's like conversations with you are real, they tell you what you need to do and the things that you should be spending time on, So people tend to run away from spending more time with themselves. They would rather spend time with other people, It's not a bad thing, but by the end of the day, the most important person you'll be spending more time with is yourself, because you start to understand and align with yourself, and you start learning all these things about yourself. So the second one is list your values. How when you like, once you get into a company, right, there are core values. They'll give you the core values of the company. These are things that will guide you, and they're like set of values that are going to shape and align when you want to go out of line. When they tell you here we love people being on time, you have to be on time. You just don't wake up and come at whatever time that you feel like. And these are things that govern the whole organization, you see. So I believe even as an individual, you need to list certain values that are more aligned with your purpose and what you want to do with your life. So it's very important to be in a space where you write them down, and make sure that they are rooted in whatever that you're doing. The other part is define your values. So clearly define what each value means to you. Like make sure you break it down to the T, like so that you understand fully what the values are, like how they can embed in your system. Because even when the emotions start to arouse or whatever that emotion might trigger, you're always like, you back off and you lean on the values that you've set for your life. So clearly set those, define your values. And the last one is revisit and reflect. Make sure that you are checking, from time to time. Am I going off? Have we changed? What has changed about us? What are we doing that we were not doing? So make sure you are revisiting and rechecking everything that you have set for your life. Yeah. Director D.
Yes.
Can you share an example of a situation where emotions might lead one astray, and how focusing on values can help?
That's a good one. I think a good example I'm use, and I think it's not gonna sit well with a lot of people. I'm gonna use a couple, because me and Paul argue a lot about this conversation. Most people don't like it. Emotions. I do believe, for me, that when you do know what your values are and your principles are, like I said, those guide you in every decision-making process. So why I say couples, a mouth that says I love you today cannot turn around tomorrow and say, or rather utter very distasteful things about you, even when you guys have argued, or when something has gone wrong. I disagree, because if that happens, that means whatever values or principles that you stand by, that means they're not in alignment with who you are. Because I cannot tell my partner that I love you today, and then each time we fight, I call her bad names, or each time I fight, I say bad things to her. You know what I mean? I do feel that the values that we carry reflect who we are as people. So even in the heat of the moment, where I'm prone to say something bad, I always need to question my values, because they're the ones that guide me throughout the entire process, even when things are bad. So if one of my values is honesty, and one of my values is gentleness, so that means even in my anger, no matter how bad my partner has wronged me, even in my anger, that all the emotions in me, the rage in me wants me to say bad things, I always need to take a minute to think about, if I utter these words, yes, they might feel alright now, but later, will they still be alright when we're no longer angry with each other? Because that's what people forget, is you're angry today with your partner. That does not mean you'll always be angry with them. You know what I mean? So when the anger subsidizes, you go back to, you and her just being happy. But then there's always a flicker in the memory that records whatever you said in your moment of anger. And trust me, everybody replays that time and again. Like that day we had a fight and he said so and so. You know what I mean? Or that day we had a fight, she said so and so. That's why you find each time there's a fight, there's a reoccurrence of them referring to what you said in your previous argument, to say, remember the last time we fought, you said so and so to me. And then, but then, so always check your consciousness to align with your values, no matter how much in the heat of the moment your emotions are telling you to do one thing. Always, I say always, rely on your values to guide you, even in the decision-making process, that even at the heat of the moment, because it's in the heat of the moment of your emotions being rampant and all over the place, that your values are deeply tasted. So always sit on your values, because they're like a compass and they guide your trajectory in how you move. So let your values and your principles be your compass even as you move. Despite the emotional noise, let your values be your compass. Yeah. Mr. L37.
Yes, sir.
How can one balance listening to emotions without letting them dictate decisions?
I love that question. It's a good one and a tough one at the same time. Listening to your emotions and not letting them dictate your decisions. It's a wild one, and I love it, because we're going to learn together what the things that I've found for you guys. So the first thing is, feel, don't follow. Emotions inform, not command. So feel them. Okay, it's important to feel whatever emotion that is present in that moment, but be alert. Hey, we talked about values, right? So be alert. Don't just blindly follow. Yeah, don't let them command you to making whatever decisions that they want you to make in that moment. Okay, so make sure that you feel it. Take your time, breathe. Breathe. Simple steps. Just breathe. Take a moment. Go outside. Take a breather. And just reflect a little. Remember core values. Values. The other point is pause before acting. Emotions need space, not control. So make sure that before you take any action, you first pause, and emotions are a tricky one. I remember I had a boss who used to act out of emotions. It was, you could tell, even how he used to act about the whole thing. You could tell. He was supposed to be a leader, because as a I think one thing I've learned, right, with companies of Zambian companies, is that there are a lot of bosses than leaders. You know, he was being a boss, not rather being a leader. You know, a leader doesn't act upon their emotions. You know, they are guided by the set of values that they've set for themselves. Yeah. So you would tell when you make a mistake, you'd tell that he's acting out of emotions, and rather not acting out of a set of values. So emotions require space, like they require space. So make sure that you give yourself that space to analyze everything that's happening. Don't be quick to acting. Be quick to taking a step back and just making sure that everything that you're doing is aligned with your values. The other part is use emotions as data, not decisions. So understanding that last time this is what happened here, it's like you understand the trigger points. Yeah, you understand the trigger points and everything that, oh, somebody said this and this is what got me out of line last time. Hey, so now, like, how can I do better? So it's like now you've gathered a data about yourself. Remember, I told you, like, spending more time with yourself. So that's what it means, like collecting data. It's like you understand what triggers you. Hey, so when people throw things at you, it's like, last time that word got me out of line, so you begin to because now it's like you're not giving them what they're expecting from you. Last time they said this and it triggered you and you acted out of line, but now it's like they say the same things, but they're expecting the same kind of action, but then you're not giving them what they want. So make sure that you're also following that. And the last part is align choices with values, not just feelings. So once you align the choices and the values together, trust me, there is less regret. Everything just flows as it should be. There is maturity in there. I've seen kids who are 12 years, who are 13, 15, acting like adults who are 30, and I've seen adults who are 30 acting like 10-year kids, So it's all about values, man. It's all about values and understanding where you come from and the background and all these kind of things, So learn to, I think this is one thing I'm doing. I'm learning certain things that I learned in my childhood, that were forced on me. So I'm learning to unlearn them so that I instill certain values within myself. And I know how to act when I'm faced with certain type of emotions. So, yeah.
Thank you guys so much for joining us today on the BeOfficial podcast. I've been your co-host, Director D, my main man, my host for the BeOfficial pod, Mr. 837. We greatly appreciate the love and support that you guys have shown us from the genesis to where we're at and to where we're going. We appreciate the love. Continue liking, sharing, commenting on all platforms. Join us on YouTube. Turn on the notification sign. Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Let us know what you think on today's conversation. We were talking about emotions versus values. Great conversation. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let us know what you think in the comment section. From me and my co-host, sign out.